When you talk about adultery, people usually listen. A few years ago, a 31-year-old Muslim woman from Nigeria named Amina won a reprieve from a sentence which called her to be buried up to her neck and then stoned to death because she had been caught in adultery. When she was released, she said, "I'm happy. God is great, and he has made this happen." 2,000 years ago, we heard another story about a woman caught in adultery. Let's see what was happening in the 9th chapter of John that we just heard, and then ask how this might speak to you and me today. The law of Moses said that anyone caught in the act of adultery was to be stoned to death. At the same time, the Roman occupiers didn't allow religious leaders to put anyone to death. So this woman was brought to Jesus. The religious leaders really wanted to trap him. If he said that the woman should not be killed, he would be ignoring the law of Moses. But if he said she should be killed, he'd be in trouble with the Roman authorities. What to do? Jesus simply says, "Let the one here who is without sin be the first to cast the stone." Then begins to write on the ground. What he writes is not indicated, but some speculate that he was writing the sins of those who were standing around, preparing to kill the woman. In any event, they begin to walk away, beginning with the eldest. In the end, it was only Jesus and the woman who was left. St. Augustine describes this scene as mercy and misery occupying the stage. Jesus doesn't tell her that adultery is acceptable. He simply encourages her to sin no more, and he dismisses her. From the various messages we can get from this reading, let me focus simply on one: the ever-present mercy of God. Although the story is often titled "The Woman Caught in Adultery," it might be more aptly be called "Christ Forgives Yet Again." The message quite similar to the scene that we had last week with the prodigal son and the forgiving father. Our church is a church of sinners. It's one thing that we have in common. We've been reminded only too well in recent times that this includes bishops, priests, and all the baptized. We all know how to mess things up. If Jesus were present here today, what would he write in the ground about us? How would he tell us, "Sin no more and go your way"? God is always, always willing to forgive us so that we might try again. We might paraphrase the freed Muslim woman who said, "God is great. He makes this forgiveness happen."